I am so pleased to announce Emily Goodson, author for the LA Times. She has her own book called Dating Disability. And this speaks so much to my heart, as you know.
I know. Yes.
And you speak so much to my heart.
Oh, thank you. Likewise.
Really. So this is such an honorable moment. It's also going to be a big learning experience for me. So let's dive in, Emily.
Okay, let's dive in.
Why don't you start by telling us a little bit about your story, just so people have the basic foundation?
Yeah, so I grew up on the East Coast, and great family, oldest of 3. And when I was 8, I was traveling with my brother and my father. And all of a sudden, I started limping a little bit, and then I fell down, and eventually, things sort of progressed to the point that I couldn't even raise my left arm. Was rushed to the ER. They found out that I had a brain bleed that had happened just spontaneously, that then caused partial paralysis. And I had to undergo brain surgery, woke up, was still completely, weak on my left side, couldn't walk, and couldn't speak. And, so obviously that completely defined my entire existence from there on out. And I think what's most meaningful about it to me, or maybe not meaningful is the right word, but most important about it to me is no one at the time wanted to talk about the fact that I was disabled. It was like,
it was taboo,
hush,
yes, thrown under the carpet.
And, and I internalized that because I was a child. And, this was nobody's fault necessarily. It's,
it's a cultural.
Correct. Societal thing. And, as I grew up, I continued to kind of push that piece of my identity to the side and not talk about it, which is very harmful.
Rather than embracing it.
Yes. And then, when I moved to LA, honestly, LA really changed everything for me and brought me to a place where I, accepted and embraced this part of my identity, and, then have progressed from doing sort of corporate HR work to now writing and speaking extensively about disability and intimacy primarily.
Right. Being an activist for something that you understand deeply.
Yes.
And comes from Do you think that it was LA itself, or do you think it was the fact that LA has so much spiritual opportunity and that you found yourself into a spiritual group and that helped you understand that each soul has a destiny and that comparison is ignorant? And that probably gave you the power and the self-esteem to really follow your heart, which was, I need to free myself of this.
Yes. I think it was the spiritual community that I joined and became a part of in LA, and the people that took me in, because, when I lived in Washington, D.C. before I moved to LA, and started studying yoga and spirituality and meditation there, and sort of, worked my way into that. But during the pandemic, when I was here in LA, I really went deep on a lot of different modalities that I feel like just changed the game for me, and helped me break down this sort of negative self-concept I had internally.
Can we talk about that a little bit?
Yeah.
Can we talk about what it took and how you started to unravel it? And I think most people that are listening understand that this is a very personal topic to me. I have a son. He's 15. He also has a disability, and he's trying to date, right? There are girls in his life, and he has to sit in the background loving these women and saying to himself, when is it going to be my turn?
Yes, I know.
When is it going to be my turn?
Yeah.
So what happened? Tell me, can you do sort of a step-by-step of the unraveling?
Yeah, I can. And, and it's, Taylor, it's interesting because I don't know that many people can understand how deeply painful the unraveling is and how much time it took. I was reflecting over the weekend with some friends about a a guy that I was interested in, this is in my 30s, interested in, it wasn't the right time. And, he and I had a conversation about it in person. And he truly, and I, nothing against him, but he didn't understand why I was so emotional, and why I was so deeply painful and crying. And because what you're talking about with your son, it's this, ever since I was 13, I wanted to date and for boys and men to pursue me romantically, and it just didn't happen. And so there's, all these sort of levels of pain that I feel like build up inside of us. So the unraveling was, it took 3 years to really take shape. And that was 3 years of like intense work of doing yoga and meditating multiple times a day, working with a lot of different coaches one-on-one, crying a lot. I feel like from 2020 to probably 2023, I cried every single night, if not multiple times a day, just to like the upheaval, right, of these emotions that have been stored in me since I was 13, for 20 years.
Okay, so what was the process? Let's start with, did something happen? Was there some sort of cataclysmic event which sent you on your journey? Was it a heartbreak? Was it looking in the mirror and saying, I want to love myself, it's my time? What was it?
I think it was a combination of things. Moving to LA was, I think, a huge sort of moment for me. And that happened because my grandma died, and I was so close to her. And I think she passed away suddenly in 2019. She was elderly. She lived a great life, but it felt sudden to me. And at the same time, my mother actually very quickly descended into early onset Alzheimer's. And all of that happened in early 2019. And I just was like, I can't deal with this. Like, I can't deal with the life I have right now. And, I was actually visiting LA at the time to see a guy and figure out if he was interested in me as more than friends. And I something about, I got to Santa Monica and I was like, this is it. Like, I got to move. And I moved 6 months later. And I think that was sort of the first step. And then from there, I think the other cataclysmic, like, pivotal moment that happened is I was driving to San Diego one day for a doctor's appointment, and I was listening to a podcast with Guru Jagat, and she was interviewing Justin Patrick Pierce and London Angel winners, who I had never heard of at the time, but they were talking about love and relationships and energy in a very different way than I had ever heard before. And
I remember that podcast, and it touched me as well.
It's a very touching podcast. It was a Valentine's Day themed episode. And Taylor, I swear, like, I pulled off to the side of the road because I was like, I can't, like, I need to remember all of this. And I think hearing them talk about relationships and love and loving yourself and stepping into, like, particularly London talks about, kind of stepping into your true essence, as an omega, and the omega energy is what she would call it. Some might call it your feminine, but something just clicked of like, I want that. Like, I want to love myself like that and allow myself to receive love like that.
Now, I want to touch on a few things that you said. The first thing is, thank you for saying that LA is a place of love and acceptance, because I often think about moving because there's so much other stuff here and I get caught up in it. And
right.
then I think to myself, my son is fully accepted here.
100%.
He doesn't walk into a room and feel like an oddball. Any issues that he has around his disability come from, it's internal.
Yeah.
And I imagine most other places it would be amplified. So thank you for telling me that we're probably in the right place right now.
I think so.
It's, a lot of that stuff that comes with the liberalism is open heart, open mind, lack of judgment.
Yeah.
And I do think that LA provides an extraordinarily supportive group of people. And it really does offer us the ability to be free from that. Then I want to touch on your spirituality.
Yeah.
Was that the initial path that you followed to get in, to find yourself? Did spirituality, did your practice guide you back to self?
Yes, 100%. And it was not what I was raised in, right? Like I was raised in a kind of Protestant church, middle, high school, even in college, went to some, Protestant church services. And I took some things from that, but in DC, when I lived in Washington, DC, a good friend of mine named Joanna introduced me to Kundalini yoga and to meditation. And it was sort of, and then I continued taking with her during the pandemic quite extensively. And I think that's when I noticed things started to shift. At first I was like, well, this is a little weird and I don't know what's going on here.
But you felt it was working.
But I felt it was
shifting.
working. And I think back to, when I moved to California, I started a business doing HR consulting. And it was really hard to build a business financially. And, I remember having these moments with Joanna where we were doing some one-on-one coaching at the time too. And she, we were talking about mantra and she was like, why don't you just try saying like the Lakshman mantra 11 times a day? Just start there.
Was that your mantra, Lakshman?
Yeah, it was.
Because that's when you walked into Guru Jagat's studio, that's the first thing that was playing.
Yeah.
Apsayo and Lakshman.
And, it's funny because it's like, it works. Like, I think back on like that year of like when it was really rough for me financially. And I remember standing in the shower, kind of crying and being worried. And I would say my mantra and it's like 100%, like, slowly.
So you were saying it for prosperity at the time, not for necessarily to cut through the other subconscious thought forms.
100%. And I think in looking back, like I was really drawn into my practice for the prosperity aspect of it. And I wasn't drawn into it initially because I don't think I was like conscious enough that I needed to clear away the negative self-talk. And I remember a moment when I really now I really enjoyed the addiction meditation, like this, saying Satanama in your head. And I remember when I learned that meditation, I was like, oh, I don't need this. Like, this, I'm not addicted to anything. And then as I started to do it, I'm like, oh, wait, I'm addicted to telling myself I don't deserve love. Like, I'm addicted to telling myself I'm not worthy of things. Like, this is a problem, And then I feel like I was initially drawn into mantra and meditation for the prosperity.
Because like you said, you were shutting the reality of your situation down.
100%.
Is it right?
Yeah.
So subconsciously, you weren't even working on that.
I wasn't aware.
You didn't know that was something you needed to work
exactly.
on. It was just your state, and you had to fight. You had to white knuckle it.
Exactly. 100%. That's it. You get it.
Oh, do I? Oh, do I?
Get it. Yeah.
And it's funny because you say I get it. And the truth is that I'm going to be honest with you. At the beginning, I thought it was a burden.
Yeah.
I thought that's why the name of my documentary is Magnificent Burden.
Yep.
But now, after so much time, I realize that difference is not a problem that we have to solve. It's intelligence expressing itself. It's people like you challenging the system.
Yep.
It's my son walking to a room and saying, hey, look at me.
Yeah.
How are you going to deal with this?
Yeah.
Because I'm not going anywhere.
That's right.
And what I have noticed, an enormous shift around disability. And I often think to myself, was I called to be the mother of a child with special needs because it was something I feared so much in my childhood? Did I literally call it in because I was afraid of it?
Interesting.
Because I'm no longer afraid of it.
Yeah.
It was a lesson I had to learn.
Interesting.
And by serving this young man,
Yeah.
You know, did I ever want to be a part of the special needs or the disability community? Hell no.
Yeah.
And do I look at it as an honor now? Yes, I look at it as an opportunity to teach.
Yeah. And I thank you for sharing that. And I reflect often on what a tremendous incarnation I have been given. I mean, I'm going to get emotional, but it's like,
no, this is a rough one.
It's, for so long, I feel like I didn't own my identity and others didn't, they were like, Emily, you're normal. But I was, I'm not normal. I walk very differently than the majority of the population.
Right. But normal, I mean,
what is normal?
That's so, right. That's ignorant. Comparison is ignorant.
Yeah. But and now now that this book is out and the LA Times is out and I'm speaking about disability in companies, I'm tremendously humbled by this is a very special life I get to live. And what a tremendous honor to be on the forefront of when this conversation is changing, and I'm helping to change it actively. And I think a lot about what a blessing I have and what a gift I've been given to live this life. I think about it all the time.
Well, Guru Jagat used to say that your power doesn't come from being accommodated. Right? Our power comes from expressing our sovereignty.
Yeah.
And when we do that, not only do we open the floodgates, we actually bring in admiration.
Yeah.
So, on that note, let's get to this.
Okay.
Because
let's do it.
This has been a topic that you've discussed an awful lot. I would think in terms of our community.
Yeah.
It's very powerful and meaningful because it's something everyone with a disability struggles with.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I want to get down to the book because I think this is incredible.
Yeah,
and I'm
thank
so
you.
impressed. Once again, I have to keep showing this. And you are having a book signing tomorrow night. Is that correct?
Tonight, actually.
I'm
yeah,
sorry,
tonight.
I'm going.
No,
Right.
nope.
At Barnes and Nobles. We'll talk about that after.
Yes.
So let's dive into you want to dive into the article first or the book, or are they really one and the same?
It's really one and the same.
Okay.
I feel like the book is an expansion of the article.
I agree.
Yeah. Yeah. And because I feel like when this article came out in the LA Times in February 2022, I'm a disabled woman. Is that a dating deal breaker? And I mean, the response was tremendous. I remember. It was overwhelming.
You were still in class you were still in LA at that time.
I was still in LA at the time. I had to go to the beach and sit by myself for 4 hours to just calm down because it was so much energy. It was
right.
So and
that you weren't used to getting because you were the disabled girl,
right,
who had to sort of sit in the background and wasn't used to this flood of attention.
No, I was not. Exactly. Yeah, that's well said. Yeah, I mean, it was a lot of attention, a lot of energy, and it was pretty obvious to me that some people really got it. Some people didn't get what I was saying, and everyone wanted expansion. And so then I kind of for a few years thought about is and I still think my stories are a TV show or are a movie, but it was what is it first? Is it a scripted TV show? And I ended up moving to New York for my career. I was going there a lot for work, and we can talk more about New York later. But I don't know. LA has such a special place in my heart. New York does too for different reasons. But anyway, moved to New York, and a friend there really guided me. She was like, Emily, I think you need to just get your name on some more intellectual property, get a book out there. And also somebody in our kind of community at Remington. Do you know Remington, Donovan? Yeah,
of course.
So Remington actually as well was Emily, you really just write the book. Just write the book. Get it out there. And so I'm so thankful to Remington and
he's certainly smart.
He's smart. And my friend Kelly, who were both get it out there. And I'm so glad I did. And it was, a huge sort of energetic push to get it out there. And I went with a non-traditional publisher because I couldn't get any attention from a traditional publisher, but it was just this huge push to get it out there. But now that it's out there, it's amazing to see the impact it's having on people.
Well, yeah. You sold out your first round.
I have.
You've sold out your first round.
I have.
So let's Can we talk a little bit about the book and some of the stories?
Yeah.
And then I'd like to get into sort of how your life has changed and how your dating world has changed. And have you realized that maybe it wasn't your disability that was holding you back, and maybe it was emotional stagnance or fear? Or
100%.
Okay, so let's get into that.
Yeah, I feel like, I say in the book that I feel like for years and years I assumed my physical disability was what was kind of holding me back from finding the romantic relationship I wanted. And I said it wasn't the disability, it was my mindset, right? It was me and my inability to really express my emotions and own my sovereignty and what I wanted. That was the deal breaker.
Were you comfortable in your body?
No.
That must be.
Yeah, and I think London, who I worked with as an intimacy coach, she helped me to recognize that a lot and like just get comfortable in my body and get comfortable in who I am and how I present. And so I think it was a confluence of things. And, yes, certainly there are men and women, there are people out there who have, ugly opinions in my mind and, say I won't date somebody with a disability. Like I'm sure there are people out there who think that. But I think primarily what was holding me back was like my mindset, my inability to kind of express myself, and I think just a general kind of unworthiness. Like I didn't feel worthy of a romantic relationship. I wanted it, and I thought I was putting myself out there, but I think deep down I really had that kind of lack of confidence. And so the book, is 15 stories of like me, first of all, developing that unhealthy narrative, but then really building confidence.
And do you think looking deep into yourself at this point, do you think that narrative is completely gone? Or do you have to still work on it every day?
I still work on it. Maybe not every day, but certainly every week. I think for most of us, it's, things like that, they linger. And, I unfortunately, I think, society still has very unhelpful narratives around.
Look, even I worry about things. I'm like, wow, after 35, am I going to be able to find the love of my life? Or, I'm only 5'5".
Right.
Is that, and by the way, in all honesty, there are societal limitations that are put on us, but what it does do is it flushes out the people we don't want in our lives.
It does.
Because I have to imagine again, I don't know, but I would hope for my son's sake, for your sake, and for the community at large, that there are people that are completely open to dating people with disabilities. And in fact, I think there are people who don't even notice disability.
Yeah, I think what you're saying is right in the sense of like, I have found in recent years, and it's funny because people ask me, who are you dating and who are you interested in, and I'm always sort of interested in people and talking to people, but it's not. I think culturally when we think about dating, we assume that means you need to have like 100 people interested in you, right? Or all these people swarming around you. And what I have found in recent years is the men who I'm interacting with or who are interested in me, they're lovely. Like they are lovely people. And I'm not pulling in this, I'm not pulling in any attractions that I necessarily don't want.
You're not finding performative men.
I'm not finding, And I think being so honest about myself and who I am, I'm out there, right? You take it or leave it. But I'm not finding like people trying to ghost, I don't know, like all the dupe me.
They're not trying to fuck you.
Me.
They're not trying to fuck you.
Well, right, because I'm like, I'm not doing that. Like that is well documented, But it's nice because now that I'm like fully open with who I am, I'm attracting the right people into my life,
Right, because the issue isn't disability; it's who we allow to be visible.
Yeah,
and sometimes we just have to take that into our own hands and say, okay, I'm going to stop being invisible.
100%. And I think that's for a long time I was, feeding into Hollywood or whatever you want to call it, its definition of who's visible, who's on a screen, who do we idolize, what do we think is beautiful, this and that. And I feel like at some point, in the past 10 years, I was like, enough of that bullshit. Like, I'm going to be visible. I'm going to be seen because I deserve to be seen. So do all of my friends in the disability community, whether they use mobility aids, whether they have a non-apparent disability, like, we deserve to be seen and we should be seen. And we're not going to let other people define for us our worthiness.
There's also there's so much opportunity within your community. Like, so I have this friend who has a Maps app, and I said, well, why don't you work with someone with disability to create a Maps app for ramps or for people who are in wheelchairs so that they can access these things? I mean, that's all. I'll take my son to Europe, and I'm like,
oh, it's a mess.
It's a mess. I'm like, where do we go? What do we do? That kind of an app would make life so much easier. Right? And there's a whole world out there of things that we can grab and make our own. And they're helpful and they're monetizing. And so, right, there's a lot of power in that. And we have to grab that. And I keep pushing Ren towards that. I'm like, there's a whole Wild West out there. Make it your frontier.
Yeah, and I think what you're saying is so important because I think one of the things that I constantly remind myself of is like, I am my own best advocate, right? Like, nobody else is going to advocate and seek out answers for me like I do for myself, right? And so, like, me seeking out, like, what are solutions that can work? And yes, there is, it takes some energy, but I think technology is presenting so many wonderful solutions that didn't exist even 2-3 years ago, and I talk to people in the disabled community all the time about how AI is helping them and how new apps are creating massive opportunities. And so I think it's a really exciting time.
I have to say, like, one of the ones that I think stick out the most are with amputees.
Yeah.
Right? There was a time that amputees couldn't really function in the real world. It was difficult. Yeah. You see so many people with these artificial limbs, and they're actually sexy. These women are,
I know,
hot,
I know,
empowering, and I feel like men are like, I want that. Like, that woman cannot be taken down. It's really sexy.
Yeah.
We are part AI now, and so it's like the $1 million woman, the $1 million man, and I think that now is going to find its way. I think we're going to see an unraveling. I think we're going to see more and more of that, and I hope that LA is the epicenter for it. I really do.
I would love that. I really would. Yeah.
Could you tell us what's going on in your dating life, and have you found someone? And if you haven't found someone, is it not because of the disability? It's just because there's no one that you connect with spiritually, or you're not resonating on the same frequency? What's going on in your personal life? Everybody wants to know.
They do want to know. This is the most asked question.
Is it?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
I want to know.
Yeah,
because you've been with some doozies when I knew you. It would start off great and be like, not happening.
It's the second, right? Like, I feel like I just haven't found the person who I connect with on the right level. And or, it may be that I've met the person and it's not the right time. I think one of the things I have found, I mean, again, going back to kind of the stories that I tell myself is, I feel like I told myself this story of like, I should be dating 10 people at once and like I should be getting all this interest, this and that. And it's like, I do get a lot of interest.
You do.
Yeah. And
you do.
I do. And the thing about New York is, well, I guess I got it here too. I get a lot. I think this is fun, but I get a lot of interest from men on the street. Like, people just walking.
Oh, I love a good cat call.
I do.
I miss that in LA.
It
made me feel sexy.
I do too.
Womanly. And it's not that I'm going to date them, but I just love the male attention.
Well, and I don't know if we've talked about this or if you've seen this, but I always wear my Dodgers baseball cap. Like that's what I wear, even in New York, because it reminds me of home in LA. Men love to comment on that is if you want some male attention.
I'm gonna wear mine now.
Wear your hat. I'm telling you, I think it makes it easier for them to approach you because it's
interesting.
Yeah, no,
something to talk about. It's a conversation starter.
And even if they don't like the Dodgers, it doesn't matter, And so that's been fun. But yeah, I mean, I think I'm always going out dating and talking to people, but I haven't found anyone long term that I feel like is the right match yet. And that's
I'm
okay.
Sure, right. And it probably doesn't feel disappointing because you're no longer attaching it to disability. Right. Now it's just okay, it's a game, it's a numbers game.
Right.
And I haven't hit the number yet.
Right. I mean, and I think it's also, I'm so happy and content in myself. I don't feel like I'm missing anything. Whereas for a long time, I felt like I was missing something by not having a boyfriend or a partner or that side of my life,
Are there moments where you slip back into the old mindset or no?
100%. Yeah.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah. I mean, not often, but and if I do, that's when I know I need to meditate. Because that will get me out of bed in 3 minutes.
Can we talk a little bit about, because this is in the Naad, so we have to touch on this. Can we talk a little bit about how your practice and how spirituality really helped you get through this, and how you would use it as a crutch when you needed it? Because I do remember, first of all, you were always that girl in class with a notepad and paper.
Oh, I know, right? I was always writing.
And the other thing is, I'm not going to lie, but there were times where we'd be in the middle of a really intense class and I'd see you cry.
Oh, yeah.
I would just see you cry. Yeah. And I have that too.
Yeah.
Because something was touched within me that I thought nobody understood. And suddenly, either through breath work or something Guru Jagat said or something one of our other teachers said really hit home. And I was like, wow, I am understood.
Yeah.
I am seen. Because at the end of the day, the body is not who you are, right? It's a vehicle for the soul's expression.
Yeah. Yeah, there's so much there.
Sorry.
No, it's great. I mean, I just, am so thankful to have such a deep spiritual practice and knowing of myself, because I know not everyone has that. And meditating is immensely meaningful to me. It's just so lovely to have a practice, to have a mantra where I can sit there and just, everything gets quiet, everything gets calm. It's just, I can tune into me and to my essence.
And your soul
the soul
doesn't have any issues, right? The body does, the soul doesn't.
Yeah. And I talk in the book about crying, and I am such I feel like growing up, I was not encouraged to cry, and it was just not
So now you're very watery.
People were embarrassed by it, and now I'm very watery, And I remember,
I am too.
I remember a beautiful meditation I did one day. I was in class with Guru Jas, and somebody I loved deeply had moved away that day, and I was so sad about it, and I just couldn't bring myself to cry until I was, in that 11-minute meditation, and it just started pouring out, and she said afterwards, that was just so beautiful, because I could tell that you were going through something, but you got the sadness out. And I think that's the cry, when we go back to the unraveling, it just takes time to get all of those stuck emotions out. And I think if you can cry, and if you're comfortable doing that, it's just a beautiful way to A, get the emotions out, but then B, as you're saying, I have found, particularly in the last 2 months since this book has come out, I cry kind of spontaneously throughout the day.
I do too.
Right? And I think it's just, it's various emotions. It's the sad, maybe it's some sadness, but I think more so it's joy and gratitude for how this book is touching others, and how I just think it's so beautiful to have produced something, and now it's taken on a whole life of its own, and it's touching people in ways that I couldn't have imagined, and people are finding it in libraries that I didn't even know had it. It's just
And
beautiful.
you're helping people on their path. You're helping people with the struggle. There's nothing more gratifying than that. I mean, that's Seva.
It is. And that's like a young person reached out to me on Instagram and said they had found the book in their library and they're disabled. And they said, your book has helped me more than my therapist has because my therapist is not disabled. And, I'm sure the therapist has given them lots of great tools, but like there's something about that.
You're a tribe. You're a tribe and you can understand, of course.
Yeah. And that's it. I'm like, and honestly, Taylor, it's also interesting because I'm 40, I'm 40 years old. And yet I'm like, I feel like I've done what I came here to do. Like, I feel like this book and the article and like whatever, movies, TV shows, whatever's to come. But I'm like, that's it. Like, that is why I came to this planet.
So on a spiritual level, do you think that you are living this incarnation, that your incarnation was this way so that you could teach? Do you think it was a gift? Do you think it was a nod from universe that this is your mission?
Yeah. Yeah, I do. I think, culturally and societally, like historically, disability was something that we shunned, we didn't talk about, we segregated, we, thought was ugly, all of this and that. And I think my entire life like has been a gift. And I'm like so grateful it all happened because I'm like, I get to be one of these people who are showing the world that like that's not right, that like disability is sexy and it's beautiful and it's given me so many wonderful things that I wouldn't have had otherwise.
So Ren, my son, is actually not a part of a community.
Yeah.
He's kind of like you in that it's very hard to have a physical disability without having mental limitations.
Yeah.
It's extremely hard. You can't find camps because he's obviously much weaker than you physically.
Yes.
You can't find camps. I can't send him to certain programs. And if I do, there's usually that duo component of mental and physical.
Yep, sure.
So he doesn't have a place.
Yeah.
He just doesn't have a place.
Yeah.
I'd say that people, the cerebral palsy community probably has more, he'd probably have more access there because it's a similar situation. But how important is community? Because that's something that he and I have not really dove into at this point. And I'm curious what your thoughts are on that because he's lonely.
I think it's everything. And
You do?
I do. I honestly do. And I think it is hard to find. And one of the things I talk about in the book is, growing up, I had no friends or peers who were disabled in any way.
Did you have friends?
I did have friends. I have always had great friends, and that has been a game changer for me. I mean, my friends are my family, like
Of course.
100%. And I have always had very supportive friends, but when I was growing up, even my friends, I didn't talk with them about disability because I wasn't comfortable with it, right? And
just glossed over it. You were just one of them.
Right.
Which you are, but there's that elephant in the room.
And I think it's the idea of when you see me, like, I'm a beautiful person and I have a disability. And when you see the fact that I have a disability, that gives you the appreciation for what's happened in my life, right? Like, and I think it's important to talk about that because I've had to deal with a lot of shit. It's like the world.
What kind of talk to us about some of the shit you've had to deal with?
Well, I mean, similar to like we were just talking about Europe, right? Like places that aren't physically accessible, or learning how to zip my dress with one hand, or learning how to type with one hand. It's the world isn't, and it's becoming more set up and thoughtful of people with different physical abilities, but it wasn't always that way.
Even emojis.
Yeah, I know.
It's great.
It's great.
It's just great.
I love all of it. And I think, my friends who kind of see that whole part of me, friends or romantic interests, like it gives them a deeper appreciation and understanding for who I am and what my journey has been like, if that makes sense. But yeah, I think community, having a diverse community is important, right? People who are disabled and non-disabled, all races, genders, ages, all of it. I think it's important for sure.
For sure.
But I think, growing up, I didn't have, similar to what you were saying, like a good outlet for peers in the disabled community. And now I do. I have developed some beautiful friendships. And I talk in the book about, in New York, one of my best friends has previously had a leg length discrepancy, just like I do. And I cannot tell you like how meaningful it is having him in my life, because he like gets me on a soul level in a way other people don't. And so I think it's, finding, even if it's just one or two people, I have a friend who's an amputee, and he has a buddy who is also an amputee, but on his other leg, like one has a left leg amputee, one's a right. So they trade off shoes, right? Yeah. And so it's like, I think just even if you can find.
How did you connect with them? What could I do for Ren, for example? How do you, talking to our audience, how do you find your tribe? Well, you wrote the book, so it came to you.
I know. Yeah, I think, number one, you have to put yourself out there, right? You have to, live your life and go to, find the activities that are you and like you love and that are uniquely you. And I guess where I'm going with this is like, for me, I have always kind of found my community around physical places or interests, right? So whether it's yoga, and I built a whole lovely community by going to yoga class. In New York, I am a huge SoulCycle enthusiast, and
so am I, and so is my son.
Yeah, I remember we talked about this.
So is my,
we all need to go.
Cycler.
Well, because when I was here in LA, I had a Peloton, and that's what I did my Peloton, and then when I moved back to New York, I went to SoulCycle, and I'm upset. The book's dedicated to my SoulCycle community.
I want you to come with me and Ren. How long are you here?
Currently Monday.
Okay.
I'll be back in, I think, late February and late March. So we'll go then.
I would
love that. Yeah. I love SoulCycle, and I have made all of these friends through SoulCycle who I think, so I think it's pursuing the activities you like. But
so you're saying it happens naturally. You're not pursuing a special needs community.
I'm not.
I see.
I'm not. It happens naturally, but I find what I have found in recent years is like the more open I have been about myself and my identity, people are more likely to connect me with others. Like I have now a very good friend. She's a wheelchair user, and she's also a writer, and she lives in Denver, and I got connected to her through a friend in Denver. And she and I have become close friends now, and I love having her as a peer who has a similar experience to me. But it was because I was so open in talking about my identity and my activism that a mutual friend was like, oh, hey, you need to meet this person.
Have you ever heard of a New York Times bestseller writer called Andrew Solomon? He wrote a book called Far From the Tree.
I have met Emily Kingsley.
He is. So he was in my documentary.
Okay.
And he is, I don't know who that is. I want you to tell me about her in a second.
I will,
but first of all, he's fabulous.
Yeah.
He's just fabulous.
Yeah.
And his witticisms. And so in the documentary, he said to me, in my opinion, the greatest disability in the world is being boring. You know that voice? And he goes, disabilities are nothing. He goes, what matters is what you bring to the table. And he said, so boring, I have no time for.
Yeah.
He said, but the world is ever changing. I would say that is probably one of the most unbelievable books I have ever
Yeah.
read. For any of you who have not read it, it's called Far from the Tree.
Yeah.
His name is Andrew Solomon. Has it won? It must have won a million. It was on
Yeah.
the New York Times
Yeah.
bestseller for sure.
Yeah. And I've been reading. It's a big book.
It is a big book. But he actually, the chapters, I think he does the chapters according to what the
Yes, according to like people's disabilities,
what their disability was,
or different traumas,
I mean, what's interesting, he even includes deafness in there, and the deaf community is one of the most profound.
Yeah.
He goes into depth about that, and the New York Times has done a lot of articles about deafness as well, and it's a fascinating community.
Yeah.
They say it's one of the only communities when the people are asked, would you rather go, because they go into special schools and they learn their own language. So there is an isolation from their world versus other.
Yeah.
And often when they're asked, would you choose your hearing community or your deaf community?
Yeah.
They often choose
the deaf community.
Yeah. It's really quite beautiful and fascinating.
Beautiful. It's beautiful. Yeah. And I think ASL should be taught in all schools, for the record. And I feel like a lot of schools are getting better about that. But like when I went to school, that wasn't taught, as a language.
Well, they say it's one of the most beautiful languages in the world.
Yeah. Yeah. There's something I wanted to touch on that you said. Far from the Tree.
Yeah.
Yes, it's a massive book. I bought it's great. I
used to give it to people as gifts.
I'm like a fourth of the way into it, and I'm really enjoying it. But one of the people referenced in it is this lovely woman named Emily Kingsley and her son Jason, who is disabled. No, he has Down syndrome.
Got it. Okay.
And I believe, I'm pretty positive I'm remembering that right.
I don't think you got it wrong.
But she, Emily is, she was a writer on Sesame Street and was responsible for bringing children with disabilities onto Sesame Street.
Oh.
I know, why
do I not remember that part of the book? Okay. So
I don't know that it's talked about in the book, actually.
Oh, okay.
I think she and Jason are just profiled in the book.
I see. Okay.
But I've met her. She lives in New York, and I mean, just an astonishing woman. And I just like, thinking that this is one of the things that I get really touched about with my life is the recency of disability inclusion and activism. Right. And, someone like her, that wasn't that long ago. That was, maybe 50 years ago. That was the first time that, children with disabilities appeared on Sesame Street. And, I've also had the privilege of like getting to know Jim Lebrecht, who co-directed Crip Camp. You have to watch it if you haven't seen it. Crip Camp's a fabulous documentary on Netflix about a camp, in the 70s, I want to say, in New York for people with disabilities. And everyone went on to become a massive activist. And it's an incredible, it was produced by the Obama's production company. It's an incredible documentary.
Do we have anything like that now?
We have, yes. I mean, there's some, like a camp like that?
Anything like that?
Yes. And some of the things that I have become aware of recently, one of them.
Another way to monetize, folks. Open a camp.
Like in Denver, there's a theater company I like that called Family. And all of their actors have disabilities. And it's a beautiful theater company. And there are other theater companies like this. Like there's an opera company like this in New York. There's a theater here in LA for low vision people.
Wow.
I mean, there are, and going back to what I was saying about like find your activity, like I think there's so many communities now emerging, for people of all different disabilities. And it's, again, it goes back to what we were saying about you are your best advocate, like go out there and seek the answers and the options, because communities
and talk
out there,
to people
and talk. That's the thing, is like just talking to people, and it's all of us, right? I think I've had a lot of people, disabled and non-disabled, ask me, "Can you write a book about maintaining friendships and making friends?" And I think that is people are genuinely so hungry right now.
We're so lonely. We're so
lonely.
Isolated.
And it's
and technology, with all the beauty that comes with technology, it does sort of it does lend itself to isolation.
It does. And I think my hope is that this book and any other future work I do, it's like at the end of the day, I want people to think about connection and be intentional about connecting with your people. And, we all get busy. We all get caught up in technology, but you really, I personally think it is a spiritual practice to maintain, kind of find your people and then love on them intentionally, and I have, 5 people that are like really like my core friend group. And it's like, I'm reaching out to you every week. I'm flying cross country to see you if I can, it's like, I am going to dig into you because that's what we're here to do. Right. Is find those people and just love on them the best we can.
Right. I mean, again, I said this the other day, but it's so apropos right now. I mean, we give off a transmission, a trans and a mission. And your mission is to open the eyes of the world, to open the hearts of the world, to let people, so that people, there was a time when people saw a difference between black and white.
Right.
There was a time when people saw a difference between straight and gay. Now you see women walking down the street with mustaches and you don't even think about it.
Right.
Right. This stuff it's been so incorporated into our regular daily lives. I think the next frontier is disability. I, for one, don't see it.
Yeah.
But it took a while.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not perfect.
Yeah.
Like I said, it was something that was really hard for me to address, which is why I think it fell on my plate.
Yeah.
Because I was pushing it away.
Yeah.
And as a result, here I am. Hold on.
Yeah. No, you're fine.
Here I am, an advocate for the thing that I was most afraid of.
Yeah. Right. And that's the thing is, like, I think it's okay. I think there's something to be said for, like, I see your disability and I notice it, or, we talk about it. But what you're pointing out is, like, so many people historically have seen, whether it's disability or a different race or a different gender or a different sexual preference, so many people see that, notice that, and it's like, oh, that's bad, or I'm scared of that, or that's not okay. Like, that's the problem, right? Is like the judgment of, somebody else's experience. I mean, disability is just a natural part of human experience and diversity, just like various skin colors are, different sexual preferences.
It's all just a vessel for expression of the soul.
And we make it a big deal. It's not a big deal. Like, it's, and that's the thing is, I'm like, this is.
Here's a challenging one for you. Okay.
Okay.
I'm just going to play devil's advocate because I want to go out with this with you. Do you ever look at it as a karmic thing?
No, I have not considered that.
Because I have with
not.
Ren. I thought,
Yeah.
I have with Ren. Like, there are times I'm like, so I do a lot. When Ren was diagnosed,
Yeah.
I did a lot of psychedelic exploration.
Yeah.
I think I told you this. Did I tell you this?
I think so. Yeah.
I did a lot of psychedelic exploration, and I literally remember Ren and I had this vision, which I now believe is real, of Ren and I discussing, this is pre-life, this is pre this incarnation, and we created a soul contract, and he was like, okay, I'm gonna go back as this guy. I'm gonna have a disability, and you're gonna guide me through this, and together we're gonna teach each other, and we're gonna grow, and we're going to clear up any karma around it.
Yeah.
And then I thought, wow, was Ren a runner? Was he a playboy? Was he something where?
Yeah.
So life was so easy for him physically. That his soul needed a physical challenge.
Yeah.
And so that's what
interesting.
Came in. I no longer really look at past lives that way.
Yeah.
But it was a really interesting journey for me at that point.
What's interesting, and I, it's, people have said to me, people I like respect have said to me, you know, one of my kind of mentors and coaches who is Jewish, she said to me, she was talking to me about how in, you know, mystical Judaism, like the Kabbalah.
Yeah.
She said, you know, they believe the soul, you know, has various incarnations. And she said, and I was very touched, she said, I think you have reached your highest incarnation.
Oh, for sure. Oh,
and
well, there's
I
no
mean,
question.
she and I were in conversation talking about the book, and she's known me for a while, and she said that, and I was so touched. But she said, you know, I really think this is like whoever my soul has been. She was like, this is the top,
Right, because what we say in the yoga community, at least in my yoga community, is that that life here today is a curriculum, and that the toughest, the souls that have learned the most, continue to choose the hardest curriculum because they're smart. They've graduated from the next. So the soul goes back into that place before life when it evaluates its past lives, and it's hungry for more. Yeah. It's like, take me deeper, get me harder. I want to go as deep into this because for a soul, life is it's a blink, right? It's a second.
Yeah.
And so they want to shape and form their soul such a level. They want to go so deep into that, into a challenge.
Yeah.
That it completely reshapes who they are.
Yeah.
And you are often told that in the spiritual world that people who choose lives of suffering have really chosen a difficult curriculum for a reason.
Yeah.
They've graduated from 101.
Yeah.
And I think that's probably what she was saying.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think, you know, back to the whole dating conversation is like, this is something I've been throwing about in my head for a while now, is like, how important is it to me to be with a partner who's done the same depth of spiritual work that I have and who has the same kind of depth of self-knowledge? And I don't know that I have the answer to that yet, but I know I am deeply spiritual, and I am deeply, I mean, I explore a lot of levels within myself, and I go very deep within myself of like self-knowledge, self-awareness, and I certainly have to be with somebody who respects that and is open to that.
I don't think you would attract somebody.
That's what Remington told me. Remington, for those who don't know, Remington Donovan is a numerologist, and he did a reading with me probably in 2020, like a while ago. And he said, he was like, you are going to attract a partner who is deeply spiritual, possibly from a different culture than you, and like very wise. And, you know, I think that's right. Like, I think I feel that deeply of whoever he is going to be somebody who is very plugged into their spirituality, whatever that path is.
Well, okay. I'd like to start by saying this is, you're an eye opener. You really are a teacher. I'm so happy that you found your path. I'm so happy that you decided to fight through it instead of around it, which it sounds like you were doing for a large portion of your life.
Yeah.
But here we are today, and you've blossomed, and you have a following.
Yeah.
You have a following. Yeah. I do believe this is going to end up being some sort of either series.
I do too.
It does seem like a series because it's stories, and so you could have episodes.
Yeah.
I mean, I almost see it like Sex in the City with disability.
That's what a lot of people say.
Right?
That.
I mean, that's how I see you.
Yeah, a lot of people,
you're like Carrie. I see you as this very grounded, very beautiful girl. Between when I first knew you and now, like the inner glow up, the auric field, the energetic field, the subtle body is all become so expansive.
Yeah.
Right? And
I've grown so much.
The work shows.
Yeah.
And that's a gift. And I am so deeply honored to have you here. I am so touched by everything you say, and you give me hope. And when I leave this table with you, I go and repeat this conversation to my son, and I help him grow.
Yeah.
And I'm already, as we're speaking, not that I'm not paying attention to you, but my mind is going like, how can I make this apply to my son? What can I do for Ren? How can I find a way for Ren to work through it? And, and it means a lot to me.
Yeah,
I'm really excited about your book reading tonight. So now we're going to jump into the present, and we're going to talk about why you're here, what you're doing tonight. How do people find you?
Yep.
What's the next book? How can anyone who knows a director or producer reach out to you? Because I know people I'm already thinking.
I would love that.
So what are you doing tonight? What are you doing through Monday? What are you doing for the next 6 weeks of your life?
So tonight, I have a book reading at the Barnes & Noble in Santa Monica, which I have to say is, I didn't expect it to be this emotional, but I walked past it yesterday, and they're so sweet. They have my photo on the door and a note about like the event tonight. And I was just deeply touched and proud of myself of like, when I moved to Santa Monica 6 years ago, this was not on the radar. I would never have thought of this.
Waheguru.
Yeah, it's amazing.
Waheguru.
And so that's tonight. Tomorrow I have a good friend's 40th birthday. And then Monday I'll go back to New York. In New York, I'm having some events at Soho House for people who are members.
Wow.
Chief, which is a women's club.
Wow.
There is a lovely, we haven't set the date yet, but there's a lovely coffee house called Cafe Joyeux, like joy in French. And they
Joie?
Joie. Thank you. I can never say it right.
Okay.
Joie.
A little fumble right
Cafe
there.
Joie. That is I have been practicing it for months and I still clearly cannot get it. Joie. There we go.
That's hysterical.
They employ people with disabilities in their coffee house. So we're going to do a reading there, hopefully in February or March. So people can, the best thing to do is follow me on Instagram or go to my website. So Instagram is ecgoodson.com. Our Instagram is ecgoodson. The website is ecgoodson.com. And that's where I list all the events. The audiobook is coming out in March.
Are you reading it?
Yeah, I've already read it and we're editing it now. It was pretty, like, it was very important to me that I read it. I'm like, nobody
energy
else.
coming through. Yeah.
100%. So
your energy.
And I'm working on getting that. That's going to be on the Libby app too. So libraries can access it, the audiobook.
The Libby app?
Libby.
And what is that?
It's an app that I've just learned about that basically you can use it to access books through your local library to like reserve physical books or check out audiobooks.
Will it also be on Audible?
Yes, it'll be on Audible.
Wonderful.
But yes, I would. The next book, I don't know. I know I have a lot of ideas.
Well, you may have the movie TV.
I would
thing,
like
right.
to do the TV first. Like I would like to do a limited miniseries around it. So if anyone listening is a director or producer and is interested, please message me because I really think it needs to be on the screen in some way or fashion. And I have a lot of ideas about how to do that. So hopefully that's the next project. And then after that, I think another book is very much like when I am in a serious committed relationship, I think that is the next book of like, what is that like for the first time? And what is that like?
Oh, I have a feling you're going to be putting a lot of material out there.
Yeah.
I think you're going to be
I
writing
have a
more
Substack
articles.
too.
Oh,
I just started it. Yeah, I just started it a couple months ago.
Wow.
So I do a weekly article on Substack about publishing or personal development or
so you're
disability
busy.
Community. I'm busy. Yeah. Oh no, I'm busy. And that's another reason I feel like I'm not dating a volume of men is because I'm like, I'm
you don't
busy.
need a volume.
Mama's busy.
You only need one.
I need one. That's right.
Wow. I am so happy for you. I am so impressed by you.
Yeah.
I'm so honored to have you as a friend. I'm honored that you're
Likewise.
part of our community.
Likewise.
You're a very special woman.
Thank you.
And I'm so happy to have you here today.
Thank you for having me. I'm so glad this worked out.
Thank you, Emily.
Thank you.
Satnam.
Satnam. That was great.
That was great.
I even include the little Joyeux fumble too.
Okay, I'm keeping that in. I'm not.